what could be a better setting for the Mitsubishi Pajero or Montero as here in the countryside. This car is very beloved for people who really still want to go off-road, because this is not this modern new SUV, this is still the real deal. And you asked me to review this car again. We have one review already with kind of also hard off-road passages. We're linking the video below in the description. But now today, of course, this car is always a little bit about off-road, but I'm also talking about road driving this car here. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun here in the evening in the countryside. What is very special about the Pajero or Montero is that there are actually two basic versions. This is here the big 5-door version, about 4.9 meters long, but there's also the 3-door version, about 4.4 meters long. This is a huge difference, and I think it's very exciting that this huge car, this huge off-roader, is also available just with 3 doors, that you have a rather short car then. There's also a big price difference. So this version starts at 36,000 euros in Germany, for example, the small one at 32,000 euros. But we got here a special edition, and also if you want to pick the higher trim level called Intense, you really have to pay a lot more, like 10,000 euros more. Then you got this modern car with rear view camera and so on. I already gave you one hint. This is here a special edition. It's the edition 30. For 30 years of Mitsubishi Pajero or Montero, as it's called in a lot of countries out as well. And for example, we got here on the exterior this white color. It's called Greenland white with a pearl effect. This is only available in this edition 30. And we got chrome mirror covers here, very beautiful, especially in combination to the white. Then we got the special side step here, which looks very massive. And just at the upside, then you see what it's for. We got the roof rail here. This guy is black and shiny. And then we continue at the rear. At the rear we got crystal clear headlights. And we got the characteristic replacement wheel here, and also with a nice white cover. And I'm telling you, well, it's not that common with today's cars anymore. So always when people look at the car, they're like, wow, what is that? Wow, it just looks classy. And that's also the reason why the back door, the hatch, opens in that way. And of course, a lot of space. As I already told you, you have to put like 10,000 euros in it for the trim level Intense, or here with the special edition we are also fully equipped. We got full leather seats. They are a mix, by the way, from real leather and synthetic leather, which I think is quite good because today's synthetic leather is very good, sometimes even better than the genuine one. And why wasting so many genuine leather if it's not really necessary? The steering wheel is very soft, I must say, and it's also one of these big fun steering wheels. You just feel like you are the king of the road with this steering wheel, and you tend to hold it that way sometimes. Not that good for them in dynamic situations, but you just tend to do it. Here at the lower part, where we got aluminum, or our other English-speaking guys would rather say aluminium, just for the pedals, very beautiful as well. And we got the modern, well, rather modern GPS, because in my opinion it could be more modern. It's rather complicated with a lot of buttons, but the GPS works. Bluetooth also works, connecting the mobile phone. And what is a bit vintage style is the consumption, for example, this area up here. You can also see the altitude here. That's also very important for off-road riding. We got a consumption, by the way, of about 10 liters here. And this is with a 3.2 liter diesel with 200 horsepower. That's just the one engine that is available, at least here in Germany, for the Pajero Montero. And I think it's not bad, because you always have to pick about so many different engines and you don't know which one to pick. So it's quite easy here, you just have this one. The seating position is just excellent, I must say. You're sitting down and you can say, okay, I'm going to Italy, I'm going 2000 kilometers. It doesn't matter. It's very, very comfortable, and you're really sitting quite high and you're in control of everything. It's this command view. I really love that about the car. And I think even at the beginning, when they say, okay, that is not that modern, not the most modern GPS, but soon in this car you get the feeling of, this is my car, this is my castle. I'm not sure why it's the case actually, but it's just that car. It has something, yeah, well, some personality, and so you really get to used to it very, very quick, and then you really say, I want to keep this one, my big fella here. One of these comfort elements is also the wide panoramic roof. I really love that. It makes the whole interior so much more bright, and even the back passengers, I'm not sure how they constructed that it really works, but the back passengers do not complain about too much wind noise or too much wind around their heads. And you can even drive with it maybe 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour. It's no problem. So if you're not going too fast, even on the motorway, you can even let it open here. So very well done with that as well. Sitting in the back, it's no problem to travel with adult, and which are even quite tall. You see, there's enough headroom and also enough legroom. You see, I'm, well, rather tall, and I could sit a little bit more higher here in the back. Then it would be really perfect. But as soon as that, you see the panoramic roof here, it's really a great car for traveling as well. Right now Mitsubishi is rather selling the Outlander and the Outlander Sport, or ASX as it's called over here in Europe. Because they are the smaller, the compact and more modern SUVs. So the Pajero and Montero sales, at least here in Germany, they have decreased because people more tend to have these compact SUVs. Well, but I think it's great that Mitsubishi still offers this big fella, because it makes a lot of fun. It's still something very special, and of course you got these great off-road capabilities. So I'm also looking forward to your opinions on that car, and what do you think about that the Pajero Montero is still available. And of course, what is missing now? Of course, to get some driving. When driving, well, you are not overwhelmed by pure luxury, even if it's already a rather expensive car, and you don't say, oh, it's so exclusive and so, but that's not the point about this car. It's rather the point that you just feel this kind of very, well, quite funny, but then again, this luxurious comfort, even if the interior is not that luxurious, and you just feel in total control. And that is kind of the thing that makes so much fun with this car. And I think, even if you don't have the most exclusive interior, I would still recommend the car, because you just get this very warm feeling. You suddenly feel connected to the car. You say, this is mine. So we're starting with a little bit of soft off-road here now. And you remember from our other off-road videos, of course, never put the thumbs inside the steering wheel, always let them at the outside, because when the steering wheel is turned by the surface very quickly, it could dislocate your thumbs. So always leave them outside. Well, it's of course no problem here for the Mitsubishi. And even here, when it's kind of unbalanced terrain beneath us, it's still very comfortable, so you don't feel the bumps in your back. The steering wheel, by the way, it's not that kind of modern steering wheel with a progressive steering. You really have to steer a lot still, even if you're driving on the road. Ah, there's a big hole now. You're always looking for some holes. That's also a lot of fun. As for the all-wheel drive, we got 4 modes here. This is the standard all-wheel drive. We can also push it to just the rear-wheel drive, because this is a rear-wheel drive dominant car. You usually don't really need it, so you just leave it in all-wheel drive. Then you got about 60% at the back and about 30% in the front. So 2/3, 1/3 rear and the front. Then it's also possible to put the next one up. It's 4HLC, and that means that we got a center lock differential here. So we can see it in the front here. Now he's locking the center differential. That is good, for example, for snow driving, or if you got other slippery conditions, that you can be sure that there's power on the front and the back wheels, and also equally. Then there's the next step even. It's 4LLC, and you can only put it in when you're in neutral and when you're standing still. So the other ones you can also choose between them while driving even. This one is just standing still and in neutral. And then that means this is for the off-road gear reduction. So when you're going up a steep hill, you can go that lot of a max speed, but it's very good for slow driving off-road. And there's even more that you could do. There's one button here. If you push it up, this is the rear differential lock. For example, when one wheel is flying in the air, for example the right back wheel is flying in the air because of a very steep hole, then it's very good because you can still get the power on the ground then via the left wheel. So this one would be the max off-road then, but if you want to see more of the off-road shots, again the other video please, in the video description, because we only got some soft off-road here today. As for road driving, you really feel suitable for the long journeys because it's so relaxing to drive here. And of course, because you got the off-road suspension, you're kind of flying on the road and you're always shaking a bit to the left and to the right, and that's very funny to drive as well. The steering wheel, as I mentioned before, especially for just going inside the city, it could be more progressive so that you don't have to steer around so often. For example, when you're in steep turns, for example, or also when you're searching something to park in. But that's kind of it. Besides that, okay, when you get the 5-door version, it's pretty long. You can't really find parking spaces. Maybe you have to park on something. But for example, I think when you pick the 3-door version, also when you're not carrying so much people that often in the back, pick the 3-door version, then you get a nice off-roader, you got a car for long journeys, it's even cheaper, and you got along in the city with this 4.4 meters only. So that could be maybe a very clever choice as for this car. You shouldn't expect the newest car here, of course, I mentioned it before, but you still got this very classy car, this Mitsubishi Pajero Montero, where you know what you get and he just holds what he promises from the outside and from the inside, and of course also as for riding. Thank you again for watching Autogefühl. We really appreciate your comments, and also we appreciate thumbs up, because that's the motivation for us to keep on going. So whenever you think this is really great stuff I'm seeing here, please write to us, because then we even feel motivated to do even more videos for you. Thank you very much and see you next time at Autogefühl.